Hello, I am Nicoletta Nandi. I'm a gastroenterologist and PhD student at the University of Milan, and I'm currently working at Ospedale Cagranda Policlinico di Milano in Milan. Before diving into our paper, I would like to thank, on behalf of all co-authors, GIE, for the opportunity to present our research on the carbon cost of inappropriate endoscopy. So, climate change and environmental sustainability have gained increasing importance in various aspects of our daily lives, including healthcare. Indeed, recent estimates have shown that the healthcare sector is responsible for 4.4% of global greenhouse gases emission. And endoscopy is ranking as the third largest contributor to waste production in healthcare. In gastroenterology, the concept of green endoscopy has gained significant attention and interest in the recent years. Our study stems from these developments and the need to rethink about our clinical practice in a more sustainable manner without compromising the quality of care and possibly improving it. Inappropriate endoscopy are a well-known issue in clinical practice with recognized social and economical impacts. However, their environmental impact still remains unexplored. The primary objective of our study was to evaluate the carbon footprint of inappropriate endoscopy on a large scale. In order to achieve this, what we did first was to estimate the prevalence of inappropriate endoscopy in Italy. Then we took these rates and we applied them to the total number of endoscopies performed in Italy per year. And we also decided to incorporate a range of scenarios by considering both the lower and upper values from the confidence intervals of the inappropriateness rate. And in this way, the result was that we had three different possible scenarios based on the level of appropriateness, which we identified as the best, the average, and the worst case scenarios. After that, we calculated also the average carbon footprint of a diagnostic gastroscopy and colonoscopies, including both direct and indirect emissions. And we also estimated the carbon cost of other European and European countries, accounting for their respective energy source mixes. And finally, we calculated the mortality cost of carbon. Now, let's discuss our results. So first of all, we found that a single gastroscopy emits 5.43 kilograms of CO2, while a colonoscopy emits 6.71 kilograms of CO2. I would like to underline that plastic alone contributes to 35% of the CO2 emissions from endoscopic procedures. Secondly, our estimates indicate that the total carbon footprint of inappropriate endoscopies in Italy is approximately 4,133 tons of CO2, but depending on the scenario, so the worst or the best, it can range the carbon footprint can range from 3,500 to almost 5,000 tons of CO2. The significance of this figure might not be immediate, so to put this into perspective, we have to think that to reabsorb this amount of CO2, we would need about 200 acres of forest. The mortality cost of carbon in this case ranged from 0.79 to 1.07 when considering the best and the worst case scenarios respectively. So when we took then these estimates and we applied them to European population, what we saw is that the estimated carbon footprint of inappropriate endoscopy reached about 31,000 tons of CO2, and the mortality cost of carbon raised to almost 7. This means that for every additional metric ton of CO2 produced, this results in 7 deaths. These results clearly underscore the significant environmental impact of inappropriate endoscopy, not only in terms of CO2 emission, but also in terms of an associated increase in mortality. This, in turn, adds to the known higher cost, the longer waiting list, and the reduced diagnostic efficiency of inappropriate endoscopy. So these findings highlight the urgency to take action. In the future, more research is needed to further assess the carbon footprint of endoscopy, including advanced procedures and diagnostic therapeutic pathways. Another crucial aspect that is revealed in our study is the dynamic nature of sustainability and carbon cost. As demonstrated, national policies such as the energy source mix and the resource availability and pricing can influence CO2 emissions. In conclusion, we hope that our study has provided you with a new perspective and food for thought. Thank you for your attention.